I'm a teacher basically, and I've led a life of learning and doing almost as far as I can remember.
Inderjit Khurana lives near the eastern coast of India. She had founded the organization Ruchika, which is a social service organization that helps street children, or sometimes called railway children. She was so amazing to me because she saw a need, a huge need, and using the skills that she possessed, she started making a difference in the lives of children.
What I noticed in Orissa, it happens to be one of the poorest states of India. Maybe I could even venture to call it the poorest. And the number of children who were on the streets with both parents working, totally neglected, undernourished, and standing in front of my school because they wanted to go to a school, was something which I couldn't resist. And since I had just started the school, I said, the day I have some funding of my own, I will reach out to you wherever you are, so you don't have to wander on the streets and stand in front of schools. Then I seriously began to look around for the most vulnerable group of children. The slum children were there, bad condition, but they reached the family at night. But there were the street children. And it was those children that I reached out to in a program which was really meant to be a behavior correcting program. They behaved badly, they used abusive language, abusive gestures, and I was convinced that it was because they had no adult guidance. They just missed that. There was nobody to say yes to something and no to something. So I took this behavioral thing to the children at the railway platform. And it was the children whose need for education was so predominant that they soon began to ask questions about why they couldn't read the books, why I had to read them a storybook, why I had to teach them a song, why couldn't they read the song and learn it? And I said, sure. Within 4 months, I had 114 children, and all so happy to come to school. So what started off as a Sunday school became an everyday school. I just couldn't resist their demands. So I would come to the station early in the morning because that's the time I was free, and then rush back again to the formal school at 8 o'clock, so I could be there in time for the formal school. It became a little hectic because as we got to know the children, we knew who were the children who came on an empty stomach, who were the children who were sick, and many of them were very seriously sick. So we just had to seek medical advice. So in seeking that advice and having the children treated, we started our medical program. And to do away with the hunger pangs, we started with a nutrition program. So the program just grew according to the needs of the children. The railway authorities then stepped in and they said, you can't do all this. We have no work being done for 2 or 2.5 hours that you are there. And besides the noise that the children are creating, and this is a public place. Anyway, at that time I was bold enough, and I went up to the big boss in the railways, and I told him, I said, you know, there's just about every activity in the world concerned with the human race which carries on at the station. And most of them are negative. And I have a positive thing at the station, which is a school for 2.5 hours. So what's the problem? So please allow me to stay at the station, because these are children who belong there, who are going to be there whether you like it or not. You can't wish them away. These children have run away from homes, and the station does provide them shelter and food and everything, so they're going to be here. Somehow that man was very sensitive to the issue, and he agreed. And so I'm still at the railway station 22 years later, and we have expanded the program to 12 schools. At the moment, the government says we don't have schools, and I say any place will do. If you have a shelter overhead, it's the best. But if you don't, then under a tree is all right. The weather of Orissa, however, doesn't permit you to really hold a school under the tree for many months. But then the culture of Orissa and the culture of India, per se, doesn't allow girls to think that they are as good as the boys. You know, in every way possible. If she's sick, she comes in the second category. The boy, her brother, will be treated first, and then she. If there is food in the house, the brother will eat first, and then the daughter. If it's new clothes, it's the boy who gets the clothes first. So, you know, with everything, she has known rejection and suppression. So, she's just got used to that idea. So, when this happens to her and she's all on her own at the station, she gives up. She's fighting bigger forces than she was trained to. But we do. For me, the girl child's education is very, very important. And they've been relegated to the background a lot. But I'm fighting a battle against this because it's, you know, it's culture driven. If you give a child self-confidence and a feeling of self-worth and a little bit of training, just a little bit, put him on the first rung of the ladder to promotion, self-promotion and success, they will get somewhere if they have the capacity. If you just tell them that you're good, you're just good. You look into the mirror and say, do you like this person or don't you? The day the child says, I like me, I like this picture of the person, perhaps his hair is not all right, and we help them to the time when they can say, yes, I like the person very much. I think he's a very good person. He's ready to move out of our organization. And we have found that in all the cases where we've given this kind of confidence to the children, they've promoted themselves. They've changed jobs, they've hopped jobs and, you know, gone on to better and better jobs.
When I met Inderjit in Sweden, she was accompanied by a small boy. His name was BJ, and he was a child whose life had been affected by the work of Ruchika. BJ's life was so sad. He was only 11 years old, but he had the responsibility of taking care of his mother and siblings.
Vijay's mother was in the early years of my school. I started it in 1985, and Vijay's mother came to me in 1986. At puberty, all girls are withdrawn from schools. So Vijay's mother was withdrawn too. And within 2 years, she was married. But for the time she stayed with us, she developed a relationship with us, which is why Vijay is here today. Because she does trust us much more than the others, because she's been in the school herself and she knows that we care and that we will take care of him while he's away from her. Unfortunately, her husband was an alcoholic and he died of liver cirrhosis while she was still very young. Her second baby had just been born. Vijay was about 4 or 5 years old. He hasn't even got over the trauma of his father's death. But Vijay's mother is dependent on domestic work. So she gets about 400 rupees a day, and she just had to put her son into working. So he was working on Bhubaneswar station and was not earning as much as the boys who traveled on the train. So he took to the train. And he brings back 50 to 100 rupees, between 50 to 100 rupees every day. And his mother was just telling me a couple of days back that, Vijay's become too bold, and he's questioning me, and he even asks me for accounts, because he's now earning. So it's a world apart in which he lives in a small room which is 6 by 8 feet with another brother and a cousin, and his mother and his 2 grandmothers, his maternal and paternal grandmothers are with them. And they live in this little room. They have no toilet. And food, as I said, the mother cooks extra rice at home at night, and then they eat that and they push off. So if Bijay is eating out of trash cans when he reaches any station where he can find food, I wouldn't be surprised. Because all the children who are traveling in the train, either they get doles from the passengers, if there's food left over, the passengers give it to them. But it might be stale, and it might just not be suitable for them. But normally, he would be eating anything, anywhere, spending as little as he can.
Inderjit is over 70 years old and has health problems. Despite her personal challenges, she continues to work for the rights of children in India. That's what I call a hero.
If I don't go to work, I'm totally lost. I think with all my problems that I have, I'm existing only because I'm reaching out to somebody else. I need to help. I need to do what I can during my lifetime. And I think this calling has come for me, because why didn't I think of it earlier than 47 years? I could have, or 45 years. I could have, but this was a calling, and it's become like a mission.
Learn about your rights, advocate for your rights, fight for your voice and your efforts to be heard. Over the past few years, I've learned many things about hungry and homeless people. I learned that in Canada, we have many homeless children. Children like me who will go without food, a bed, love, care, safety, and learning. These children do not have the things I have every day. We all need to work together to help these homeless children have chances at the life they want. Let's help our children have a chance at a better life.